If I could have your attention here in the deadline room, we'll continue on with today's Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series media availability. We are now joined by Ryan Blaney, driver of the number 21 Motorcraft Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center Ford for Wood Brothers Racing. Ryan, not only were you fifth fastest in practice today, but man, you've been busy this week. I guess you got a new deal that's come down that you signed. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We actually did that last year, but we just announced it yesterday. The folks at Body Armor Super Drink has we've been a part of their family here, and we did a neat deal with Mike Trout yesterday from the Angels. So that was really neat. We went to the Tempe Diablo Stadium, Tempe. I'm not sure how it's called, but we did that. So that was really cool to go out there and hang out with him. He's a great guy, a great athlete. Probably one of the best players in MLB right now, and they're a great company. The Body Armor folks have been they're new to motorsports, and they've loved every second of it. So we've had a few of them out, had some at Daytona and Las Vegas last week. So they're all for it, and great people up from New York, and happy to have them on board with us.
Okay, let's open the floor up to questions. We'll start here with Tom, then come up to Lee.
Hi, Ryan. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Since you mentioned Mike Trout, what was it like hanging out with him? What was that experience like?
Well, it was really neat. You know, I've always watched him play baseball, and I mean, he's only 25 years old. He's really young, and like I said, probably the best player in the game right now, and really interested. We had a car out there, and he was able to drive it. I was surprised he fit in it. To be honest with you, he's a really big guy, but he got in it, messed around a little bit, and then I got in it and burned it down a good bit. But he was really interested in it. He didn't know much about racing, but he really wanted to know a lot more about the cars. And I like it makes us feel good as drivers when people and athletes from other sports are really interested in our cars and what we do, because we're the same way. We're really interested of what happens and how their daily activities are. So that was really neat to know that he's a legitimately nice person and interested in the sport. And we'll probably never get him out to a race because they play 180-something times a year, but it'd be nice to get him out to one if we can.
We'll go here to Lee and then to the back, Bob.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Did you fill out a bracket?
I didn't. No, not this year. I did a lot like in middle school and high school, but I haven't been on the bracket train. I don't watch enough college basketball to really know who to pick or not.
No memories of your Uncle Dale?
There are memories, but like I'll watch West Virginia, and I have to actually update scores. I've been busy today. I haven't even seen anyone. UCLA plays later tonight, so I'm excited to watch that game.
What's the difference between last year and this year with the number 21 team?
I think we made a lot of improvements. It's definitely very noticeable in the first handful of races this year. You know, it's really early, but I really like the way that everyone has communicated so far, and just the vibe and the way everyone works together around the racetrack, whether it's during the week or on the weekends or on race day. It's noticeably better. The communication side's a lot better. We brought on Andrea Mueller, which I think was a great person to bring on as one of our head engineers. She does a great job coming up with new ideas, and her and Jeremy have worked together before, so that was a big help. So she's been great, and there's a couple other guys that are new, but I feel like everyone is just really meshing well together right now, and you know, we're improving every single week, and you can't really get complacent. That's how you fall back. So they're always wanting to get better. We're always getting better, and I just feel like everyone's working well together. And when that happens, you start to see improvement. So.
We'll go next to Bob and then over to Wolfgang.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. I guess because of the point swap, you were kind of in the back of the garage, but now that you're back to this year's points, what's it like to be up near the front of the garage, and how close do you feel like you are to winning?
Well, it's actually really nice to be up at the front of the garage. That's been nice. You know, in 15, you know, in 15 we only ran part schedule, so we were always at the back. And then most of last year, you know, we weren't really towards the front. We were kind of mid-pack all year, but it's nice to get a good start and you're up towards your teammates and good cars and things like that. It makes you feel part of the group. So that's always nice, and our team deserves to be there. It's not a fluke that we're up here in points. They work hard, and we've gotten great finishes. So, and I think that motivates everybody too to want to stay up there. That's been really big, and they've definitely have strived off of that to want to stay up there and keep moving forward. So, the second part of your question, I don't remember. I feel like last year we were close on weekends, but I feel like this year is we're starting off a lot closer than what we did last year for sure. I feel like our cars have been competitive enough to win. To be honest with you, all 3 races. It just kind of is circumstances, but it's just about putting a full race together. It's really tough to win one of these Cup races. Really, any race in NASCAR, it's really tough to win. Everything kind of has to fall your way, from on the racetrack to on pit road and everything like that. So all we can do is try to make the car the fastest we can and do the best of minimizing mistakes and taking advantage of opportunities, and that's all you can do. So
Go next to Wolfgang, then to Jeff.
Ryan, your team has a very strong cooperation or alliance with Penske. Can you share information in case you have troubles or difficulties with the Penske drivers, or you have to find out your own solution in case there's a problem?
No, our relationship is so good that our teams have great communication between each other. Brad, Joey, and I have really good communication. So we've been fortunate, the Wood brothers, to have that great team up with the Penske group. They've been really good to us as far as sharing information, and we sit in on all of their meetings. That makes us, I feel like, part of the team. So at the same time, we're still the Wood brothers, and we're still a single car team. In the drag strip in Mooresville, we have a great relationship with the Penske group, and they're a big part of why we run so well.
Okay, we'll go next to Jeff, and then over here to the right to Bob.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Ryan, what's the closest you've ever come to punching someone in the face after a race?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not used to you saying Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. That threw me for a loop. But how close have I been to punch someone in the face? Not very close. Not a very violent person. So you never know. But, driver. Yeah, I mean, anyone can get that upset. The Pope can get that upset. I'm saying it's human nature, though, So, yeah, anyone can get that upset to want to do that, whether you act on it or not. That's your own personal choice you make. But it's just passionate racers. That's people have passion for certain things, and sometimes your passion gets the best of you.
Go over here to Bob.
Bob Baum from Associated Press. There's a lot of you guys out here that are pretty young that are having a lot of success. Is there a common denominator you can identify there at all, other than just good cars?
Yeah, it's just nice to be part of this group. Everyone always talks about the young group coming up, and there's 6 or 7 of us that I feel like are with great teams. That's the start of it. With great teams, great organizations, surrounded by really good people that have helped us up through the ranks, that are still helping us. So it's nice to be part of this little group, and I think it's just good communication with drivers being really determined at a young age to want to make it, and then that you pair that up with a strong race team, you usually have some pretty good success. So I said, even though we're doing all right now, we're still, the guys that have been in it for a long time are still winning the races. So it's all about keep advancing and keep learning. And if you do that, you never know what can happen.
We'll go to your back left to John.
Hey, John Harville with PopularSpeed.com. Ryan, I just want to get your feelings on the way the track is in this desert heat, and also what the difference is between driving the Cup car and driving the Xfinity car out here.
Yeah, it's definitely been slick today, for sure. Ever since the first Xfinity practice over there this morning, track's been really slick, and it's only getting worse, to be honest with you. But I like that. I think drivers love that. This racetrack has aged very well, and the heat is definitely speeding up that process, which is nice. So it's been definitely a difficult task today to try to get your car to where you need it. And tomorrow for a race practice in the Cup cars, it's going to be pretty tough to try to get your car dialed in to where you need it for Sunday. But it's been nice to kind of bounce back and forth between garages. That's something I haven't done for a long time, since last year. So that that's been nice to try to get repetition on racetracks, and you know, we learn things over on the Cup car that we have tried over there. So whether they work or not, it's just nice to have those and try it, and you know, try different lines on the racetrack. That's been really nice to jump back and forth.
Any additional questions for Ryan Blaney? Ryan, thanks for joining us today. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys.
How's it going? Good.
If I could have your attention here in the media center, we are now joined by Martin Truex Jr., driver of the number 78 Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats Toyota for Furniture Row Racing. Martin, fresh off of his win at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, how did you celebrate that victory there in Sin City?
Didn't have a whole lot of time to celebrate. We had to go home. I had flew out with McMurray to Vegas, so he was waiting on the plane, and didn't get a whole lot of time to celebrate. Went and seen the guys for a minute and had a beer, and then had to hit the road. So overall, it was obviously a great week for us. So you know, looking forward to hopefully continuing that here at Phoenix.
Okay, we'll open the floor for questions. We'll start with Lee and work our way around.
How's it feel when, like, and oh yeah, Martin Truex Jr. won last week. I mean, you were kind of an afterthought. When you're a driver, do you give a damn as long as you take home the trophy?
Yeah, I think most importantly, we got the trophy and the points. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. That's what it's all about. You know, hated a little bit for my team for not maybe getting the recognition they deserve. But all in all, I mean, we got what we wanted out of Vegas, and you know, looking forward to making positive highlights.
And when you're real chummy with guys like McMurray and Kenseth, and you ride back and forth with them and have a couple of beers with them, how do you get up enough competitive juices flowing to kick their ass on Sunday?
Well, I think it's, you know, when we all get on the racetrack, it's every man for themselves. I think we're all selfish in that way, and you know, we can be friends off the track and race each other respectfully, but at the same time race hard and go for wins, and you know, do whatever it takes. So that's pretty easy really for all of us, and I think most of us have an understanding of, you know, what happens on the track kind of stays there, and you know, at least it's kind of the way I see it.
We'll go next to Bob Pockris, and then over to Ryan, and then to Chris, and then the Wolfgang.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Did you see the highlight of the Kyle and Joey accident? And how big a mistake, if you saw it, how big a mistake did Joey make?
I did see it. I don't know. I mean, you know, he obviously made a mistake. I mean, he, you know, drifted a whole lane off the bottom to hit the 18, but, you know, you could see he turned to the right sideways and just trying to hang on to it. So, you know, that track was so slick, and these cars, you know, when you get on the inside of somebody, it's so easy to get loose. So, I mean, just, you know, obviously he just crossed the edge, but, you know, if he had to do it again, I'm sure he wouldn't have done it. So, you know, I mean, you know, he definitely crossed the line, but, you know, I'm not sure exactly, to be honest with you. I'm sure it will be for those two going forward. You know, I think you'll see that. They'll race differently. You know, it's simple as that. I mean, Kyle's going to make it hard as he can on Joey every chance he gets. Joey's probably going to give Kyle a little bit more here and there just to try to pay it back, you know. But we'll see how it all plays out.
We'll go to your left to Ryan, then up front here to Chris.
I'm Martin Ryan O'Hara for Race Chaser Online and the Performance Motorsports Network. My question for you is: it's our first short track season, our first short track race of the year, and with the new stage format, it looks like it could produce some really exciting racing, especially in the final laps of the first couple of stages. Drivers are going to get antsy. How do you see it working out?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You know, first short track, like you said, a new tire, new aero package for us here at Phoenix. So far, the track's been really slick. It's hot out. It's going to be a huge challenge, and I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, how the stages play out strategy-wise. When the cautions fall are going to play into it. Obviously, they did last weekend at Vegas. We've seen guys, you know, take some chances, stay out on some older tires, try to get those points as those stages were coming to a close. So, you know, we're definitely going to see that. It's going to mix things up depending on how the weekend plays out. But so far, I think it's been fun so far. The track is. It's been a handful, and we were pretty quick in practice and didn't think the car was driving that good. So I'm sure there was others that were, you know, feeling a little worse about theirs. But should be a lot of fun and see what we can do.
Go next to Chris, then the Wolfgang, then the Claire B. Lang.
Chris9catchfence.com. Martin, half of your career Cup victories have come in the last 15 races, and it was 393 races for the first 4. So what has been able to put you in position to win? Obviously, the changes at Furniture Row Racing, and how quick do you think you can get the next 4 wins?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a dream come true to to be driving these cars the last couple of years, and really it's just a special group of guys working together. Obviously the move to Toyota last year was huge for us, and it's definitely the best position I've ever been in. Our whole team's together from last year, and just really riding a wave of confidence and momentum, and those guys are making good decisions, and our cars are good. So just taking advantage of that has been great, and it's been a lot of fun. And winning this early in the season feels awesome. I've never felt that way before. I've never had a win this early. So just try to keep riding that momentum and working hard. Our guys are busting their tails to try to be better each and every week, and we're just hopefully we can come here to Phoenix and improve on our results. It's been a tough track for us the last couple of years, so hopefully we can do a good job here and just continue to race up front each and every week and try to put ourselves in position to win.
When you signed with Barney, what were you hoping to accomplish? I mean, were you success, or did you go in with a lot of unknowns?
Went in with a lot of unknowns, but you're always hoping to put yourself in this kind of position. I mean, you never know what the future is going to hold. When I went to Furniture Row, they were coming off their best year ever, but we started out slow, and we had an awful year the first year. So really it was just sticking together and making that commitment, from Barney's side especially, to make sure we had the right stuff and do whatever it takes to get that. So, like I said, the Toyota relationship has been just an incredible piece of the puzzle for us as a team. Being a single car team last year out there in Denver, the way we were able to make that work and elevate our program, just you can't say enough about them and what they've been able to do for us. So that was a real game changer for us to have that, to be one of the top Toyota teams, so to speak. I mean, we were at Chevrolet, we were 4th or 5th down the line, and a single car team, it was hard to get the resources out there in Denver. So I think Toyota's just been a game changer for us, and it's something we're obviously really happy with.
Go to your left, the Wolfgang.
Martin, first of all, congratulations for the win last weekend in Vegas. My question is, the big difference in your team is you have now a second car on the team. You have a teammate, Eric Jones. Is it easier for you? You can share information now, or is it unchanged as when you were a single car team?
That's a good question. I think it's so far it's gone really well. Being that we were a single car team for the entire existence of the team, to go to 2 cars, it was obviously a huge undertaking. So I think everybody did a great job. I mean, at this point in the season, I think it's more important that it hasn't really hurt us or slowed us down than being a help. And I think as we go forward, it's going to continue to make our program stronger, having 2 cars. I think Eric and Chris have done a really good job so far of being consistent and being really good teammates, and I think that's just going to continue to get stronger. So obviously looking forward to the future there, but really just proud of the job everybody did to make it come off the right out of the shop and hit the ground running this year, because it was a huge undertaking to go to 2 cars for us. So good job there by everybody, and again, just everything's going smooth so far, and hopefully we can continue to build on that relationship and that program.
Okay, next we'll go to Claire, then to Bob, and then to Reed.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Did you really, for luck, ask for the same seat on the airplane?
I did.
Talk about that thought, and if you are superstitious, maybe it works.
I'm not really superstitious, but why not take that chance? I mean, if it works out again, it'd be awesome. So, yeah, even Matt sat in the same seat, except for he slept the whole way. So I'm not sure what that'll do for us. But yeah, it was good. I mean, I was kind of just joking around, but then I really wasn't. So we'll see what happens.
The Bob?
Bob Baum from Associated Press. What do you think of this group of young drivers that have come up, and how do they compare maybe to some of the other generations of drivers?
Well, obviously there's a lot of talent out there. We've seen what the young guys are doing. They're nipping at our heels and making me feel old. So, yeah, I mean, it's been cool to see their success. And I think, this day and age, it's a little bit different. I think when I came, going back to when I started, it wasn't that long ago, but it was definitely a lot different. I think, when I started, I had a rookie team that came up, from the Xfinity Series with me. And, today we see, the teammates and the alliances and just how closely teams work together that are under the same roof, and I think that's a huge asset for the young guys. They come in with all that information, all those guys on their team willing to help and share all that information. When I started, it was kind of, we had 2 cars at DEI, and it was 2 different teams and 2 different buildings, and not sharing everything. And so things have changed a lot, and I think it's helped those guys a ton get off the ground. But obviously, we've seen a ton of talent come into the series, and it's been exciting to watch and fun to race with those guys.
Go next to Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. As a follow-up to Wolfgang's question, have you worked actively with Eric at all to get him up to speed? I mean, he ran top 15, top 10 the last couple of weeks, and looks pretty good out there.
Yeah, he hasn't needed much help from me. He's done a good job, and he's a smart kid. He's got a lot of racing experience in a lot of different cars and series and things. So he's done an awesome job. I really haven't helped him much. He hasn't had a lot of questions for me. So I'm there if he needs me, but so far he hasn't really needed a whole lot.
Does anybody need anything else from Martin Truex Jr.? Martin?
This fly wants something. Thank you.
Good luck with that ticker now.
I always smile. Are you kidding me? You always smile. Oh, a happy person. You are a happy person.
If I could have your attention here in the deadline room, we'll continue on with today's Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series media availability. We are joined by Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske. Joey, last time we were here at Phoenix International Raceway, you came out with a victory, big victory in your collection. Can you talk about that experience and the positive feelings you felt coming out of that?
Yeah, of course. Winning here, the amount of pressure that was on that weekend and how important it was for us to try to race for the championship in the next week in Miami meant so much. To be able to do that, and as close as it was, and I was rewatching the race in the flight out here yesterday, and my hands were sweating, and I knew the outcome, what was going to happen, and I was still at the edge of my seat. If it wasn't for the seatbelt in the airplane, I was going to be getting up. But it was definitely a big win for me, maybe quite possibly the biggest win of my career. And that's a big deal when you compare it to the Daytona 500 and how big of a deal it was to win that day and be able to move on. Quite the feeling for sure.
Okay, we'll open up the floor for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start with Claire, go to Jeff, and then to Bob, and then to Ryan.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Joey, what have your thoughts been leading into the meeting with NASCAR today? And what, if anything, will change as a result of the meeting? And how will you race Kyle Busch now?
Well, I think it's, as far as leading into it, my plan was just to go in there and be honest. That's the best way I know how to handle situations, is to be myself and be honest about the situation. And, I told him that, hey, we obviously made contact down the back straightaway. I had a not very good entry. I had to slow down the car a lot to be able to stay on the bottom, and I tried to make up some of that speed at the bottom of the racetrack, and then I got loose. And then once you get loose once, then I was on his door, and you get loose again. And at that point, that was it. So that's my mistake. I tried to stay on the bottom. My car didn't stay there. There could be 6 or 7 different reasons why that happened. But the fact of the matter is I tried to stay on the bottom. I made a mistake. I got up into him. I hate it happened. I'd take it back in a heartbeat. I was able to. He asked for data when we talked on the phone, and I was able to bring that with me. And be able to present that and try to explain what was going on inside my race car, and we were able to move on from there.
How will you race him moving forward? And what did NASCAR tell you?
Yeah, I think we're going to race this the same as we always have. We've never had an issue. You think about it, we've been racing each other for 9 years, and you think about the amount of Xfinity races and Cup races that is, because we both run a lot of races together. And not only running them, but we've raced each other for first and second a lot, and we've never had an issue. I look at Kyle as probably one of the drivers I had the best relationship with. So I'm sure it's going to get back to that point. Obviously there's going to be it's going to take a little bit of time, I believe. That's just part of it. But like I said, we've never had an issue. It wasn't anything intentional, so we're going to be able to push through this, I believe.
Did NASCAR tell you anything? Did they tell you?
NASCAR just wanted to make sure that they're kind of the median, I guess, between the two, just to make sure that we talked in person, which is good. It's a great play by NASCAR to, I took it under my own will to call him and talk to him beforehand, but also when you talk in person, you guys all know how that's different. You can do a phone interview or do a face-to-face interview. A lot of times your story becomes completely different when you're able to see facial reactions. And, so to be able to talk to him face-to-face, I believe that helped.
Go next to Jeff, then to Bob, and then to Ryan.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Joey, did you feel like you're getting through to Kyle at all? I mean, because you talk to him on the phone, you present him this data. Is he just sort of like giving you no reaction, like not buying it kind of thing?
Time will tell. It's I guess your actions on the racetrack is what I guess speak the loudest a lot of times. So I believe so. I tried to, like I said, I tried to be as open and honest and be an open book, and there's no secrets, and so hopefully that helped.
Bob?
Chris, ESPN. How big a mistake did you make? I think there's a kind of a code like, well, if I wrong somebody, then they kind of owe me one. Do you have that feeling after this?
No, I don't. I mean, it's a mistake. We all make them, right? We all every day we make plenty of mistakes, when we learn from them and we move on. Mistakes sometimes aren't a bad thing. This one, not so good. But hopefully we can, like I said, move on from that. But we all do. I've made mistakes on the racetrack. I've made probably more mistakes off the racetrack. It's part of life. It's part of growing. And was it a big mistake? Not to start, but then obviously had a big reaction, to a small little wiggle, and then obviously it grew to something bigger.
So you think it was like a crazy move?
Do I think that? No, I don't. I don't. It's hard racing the last lap. We're racing to the checkered flag. I have no reason to do anything on purpose, that's for sure. For fourth place or whatever, that would make no sense. So, for me, it's just we're racing hard for that position, and the car got loose.
Go next to Ryan, then to Wolfgang, then to Jerry.
Joey, Ryan O'Hara, Race Chaser Online and the Performance Motorsports Network. My question for you is, in regards to your series of incidents with Matt Kenseth, what did you learn from that experience, and how are you going to apply that to this one?
It's a great question. I learn from everything. This is every event is always a learning opportunity. I feel like the way I handle that situation, you can ask Matt the same question. I didn't handle it the greatest. I was able to learn a lot from that. And basically, the biggest thing is over-communicate. Communication is key. Whether it's what the person wants to hear or not, at least just putting your thoughts out there. I don't think any harm can come from that. And it just kind of opens the communication waves.
Go next to Wolfgang, then to Jerry, and then to Chris.
Joey, I think earlier, before the season kicked off in Daytona, you had a test here in Phoenix. How was the test? And in principle, when you work out the setup, can you roll out the car with the identical setup, or you have to go again through a procedure to set up the car for qualifying and race?
You get closer, right? I mean, we were out here for a couple days testing, and it's nice. It's really nice to have that and be able to work on your cars. You don't get many of them there in a year, so you got to take advantage of that. I thought today we were able to unload with a pretty quick car in race trim, and that's because we were able to test a lot and be able to try some things. And a lot of times you can't take what you learn at a test, for gospel. Basically, it's definitely when you come back, the track changes a lot. Obviously, it's really hot. The rubber, it's going to be a lot more rubber on the racetrack, so you can't completely commit to what you learn there. But it definitely gives you a lot of direction and some items that you can have data on your car. Obviously, that you can collect a lot of data on certain items.
Go next to Jerry, and then to Chris.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net, Performance Racing Network. Kyle was in here, Kyle Larson was in here earlier, and he said that drivers may not know exactly where they stand as to what they can get away with regarding post-race incidences. Are you clear what NASCAR will accept and what they won't accept as far as the passion that you guys exhibit off the track or on the track?
I believe it's pretty clear. When what we saw last year, or 2 years ago, sorry, I think we saw where the line was drawn. So we know that. That seems like we've learned something, and it seems pretty clear.
Fighting, you guys can come to blows, you can get in a shoving match, that's okay.
Oh, as far as that stuff? Oh, I don't know. I'm not looking for fights.
Chris?
Catchfence.com. Joey, there was a picture that showed up on line that you and Kyle were chatting during driver intros on Saturday for the Xfinity race, and then Sunday we all saw what happened. Were you expecting him to come and talk to you guys since you guys had such a good relationship prior, or were you caught off guard that he just come and attempted to throw a puncher at you?
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that, obviously. You know, I was expecting him to be frustrated about the situation because, I mean, let's face it, he got the bad end of the deal. You know, so I expected some, you know, animosity, I guess, and to be able to, you know, he's going to come over and express his side, and I was going to try to take that opportunity to explain the same story that I just told you guys. Obviously, that time we were, you know, the situation was too heated to get to that point, and you know, I tried to wait a day or two and try to, you know, reach out and tell my story then, you know, and instead. So, yeah, I guess a little bit of a surprise, but understandable.
Go next, back left to John.
Hi, John Harflin with PopularSpeed.com. Joey, after the race at Las Vegas, I hadn't realized it at first, but it looked like Kyle Busch made contact with you as you guys were entering 3. And then when you got into him, do you think his first reaction was that you did it as like retaliation, or what's your thought on that?
That's a good question for him.
Okay.
I don't know. I drive the 22, he drives the 18, and I don't know what's going on in his head, and he doesn't know what's going on in mine. So, you know, ask me questions about what's going on at the 22 car. I can answer those.
We're going to come up front here to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. I don't think anybody can never question the fact that you're up on the wheel, but can you ever imagine a time where you wouldn't be giving it your all, and if that day comes, is that the day you pretty much get out of the race car?
Oh, of course, yeah. Shoot, I mean, let's say, I'm an aggressive race car driver. I race to win. I feel like that's kind of what my job is. I feel like that's what Roger Penske hired me to do, is to go out there and win races, and if not, get every position you possibly can and get the best finish that day. You know, and that's what my job is, you know, and so I just try to be the best at my job.
Go next to Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. If you had a do-over on that last lap, what would you do, or what could you do differently?
Well, I wouldn't get loose. I guess I'd check up a little bit sooner, you know, and there's so many things that yeah, I mean, could have affected that, you know what I mean? Obviously, there's some damage to my car. There's excessive rear heat put to the tires down the back straightaway. You know, all those things kind of start stacking up to a car breaking free, and the center was kind of a surprise to me, right? I mean, if it's a mistake, obviously it's a surprise that you didn't see it coming. If I knew it was coming, I would drive the car differently. So, you know, I guess kind of looking back at it, yeah, I would do, obviously, I'd try not to hit them, right? That would be the goal, would be to not have that and be able to race back to the line side by side and have some fun. That's the goal every time you get behind someone or beside someone, is just to pass them clean. And you know, when you're on the edge of out of control all the time, it doesn't take much to step over it.
Go next to Bob.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. Are you okay with no penalties for either of you, and like no fine for Kyle?
Yeah, of course. I don't see where there should be a fine. I didn't see anything wrong with anything. In my opinion, I don't know. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong.
Okay. So, I mean, I know you say you're not looking for fights, but if you get mad enough, is it good that you feel like, well, I can take a swing at somebody and one swing and I might be okay?
No, I mean, that's not the way I do things. I feel like we're, you know, as a representative of Shell and Pennzoil and Ford and even more importantly, Roger Penske and the image that he puts out there, you know, I'm responsible when I put on this fire suit. And, you know, so I feel like he expects me to be as professional as I can possibly be. Now, that being said, there's a lot of situations that obviously you get heated. There's emotion because it's competition, right? There's plenty of emotion out there in these races constantly. You can watch Radioactive every week on Race Hub. Well, you all seen it, right? It's part of sport. It's part of competition. Emotions flare. everyone reacts differently, and it's hard to react in the way you want to sometimes when things get heated. But like I said, I get it, and I don't really see where there should be a penalty for that. There was no one punched, no one got hit, so everything was. I don't see where there should be.
Go next to Jeff.
How close did you come to getting punched in the face?
I don't know. You took the video. No. Yeah, I said I got like these ninja moves, man. I just kind of, I slipped.
We'll close it with the ninja Jerry Jordan.
Yeah, I can assure you I'm not a ninja.
No, you get some ninja moves going.
Hey, Dale Jr. says that's fake news. He says you got hit. What's your response?
What's that?
Dale Jr. says you're portraying fake news that you actually got hit. What's your response to that?
I didn't see him there.
He said.
Did you? I mean, there's a lot going on. I didn't see it, so I didn't see around me. I didn't see that.
Yeah, he felt like you got hit from watching the video and everything. He feels like you just don't want to own up to it. That's what he said on his podcast.
I don't know. You guys look. Tell me. So I don't know. It sure didn't hurt, so I didn't feel anything.
Well, Joey, on that note, thanks for joining us today. And next time, make sure if you do elbow Kyle Zimmerman, have an ice pack, Andy.
Poor Kyle. Kyle got the raw end of the deal on this whole thing. I know.
Huh? You don't change the way you race. Just keep going.